Good afternoon, Anne Arundel County. Good afternoon, America. Welcome to Promoting Community Conversation and Discovery. I'm your host, Anthony Bynum. The name of our production company is the Glen Burnie Players. These are exciting times here in Anne Arundel County. Now, it had been very, very warm, but now we have a little bit of a cool front coming in, cooling things down with a lot of rain for the next couple of days, from what I understand. But we have an exciting show planned for today. So let's start off with some upcoming announcements. This weekend on Saturday, over this Severn Library, from 1 to 2, Annapolis Opera will show up and give a show. So you get a chance. It's normally things are catered for kids. So you get a chance to check them out, get the lecture, and watch some great performances. Truly great performances. I've been to a couple, and I'm probably going to go to this one this weekend. Same day over there at Quiet Waters Park at 6 to 8 p.m. Remember, we've been talking about these summer concerts in these different towns. Well, Quiet Waters, which is in Pasadena, they're having a concert uh, on the second, and it's the Sandra Dean Band. So it's free. You might want to go and check that one out. Affiliates, these are the people who air our shows for us. So we start right here in Glen Burnie with the AAC TV. Thank you for airing our shows. Greenbelt Cable Access in PG County. Thank you for airing our shows. Amherst Media in Amherst, Massachusetts. Thank you for airing our shows. Manhattan Neighborhood Network in the Big Apple. Thank you for airing our shows. And Brunswick TV3 in Maine. Thank you for airing our shows. Okay, we want to also thank our references. These are the sources that we use. So that's Wikipedia, Google Images. And this week we have a poem that was written by William Martin. So we want to thank him in advance. And of course, if you wanted to check out anything regarding our sponsor slash underwriter, the Cleaning Chef, just go to our credits, find out more about them in their services that they offer. Most admired. So let's go to the share. Now, this is someone truly a blast from the past, but I remember him fondly growing up, very, very fondly. The gentleman's name was Art Linkletter. Now, he was born July 17th, 1912, and he died May 26, 2010. He was born in a place called Moose Jaw, uh, Sac, Sac, Sasquatch, Squashwa, Sasquatchwa. That's how it's pronounced. Um, And again, he died in Los Angeles, California in 2012. Though he never knew his parents, he was abandoned when he was just a few weeks old. He was adopted by a Mary, or I think it's May, and Fulton John Linkletter. He happened to be an evangelistic preacher. The family moved to San Diego when he was just 5 years old. He graduated from San Diego High, and he went to San Diego Teachers College to become a teacher. You know, you could get a job being a teacher. During the Depression, he traveled by rail and he worked odd jobs. So he was learning about life, really is what he was doing. Uh, then he was a teacher, but he tried to try his hand in the radio business, pay a little more money. He was able to host shows and produce shows. So he got in a long time ago. And he knew people. This was a fledgling enterprise. The television was held back. It was available. It was basically available right before World War II, but they said, powers to be said, we've got to hold off on this. We've got to concentrate on this war. We need all our brightest minds to work on, winning World War II. So right after that, he's a pioneer in the game. And it's interesting. Remember, I mentioned he was born in Canada. Well, it's interesting because he got in himself a little trouble in 1943. So this is actually during the war. He claimed to be a U.S. citizen. Uh, he was prosecuted. He was fined, but he paid his fine and he was allowed to apply for U.S. citizenship. Wow, isn't that a turn of events, huh? And he became a naturalized U.S. citizen. Now, he worked in Hollywood for many, many years. He worked on a show called People Were Funny. This is one of the first audience participation types of shows. They had contests, they had gags. The show ran from 1954 to 1961. Somehow in there, it turned into, or the show, Kids Say the Funniest Things, Darndest Things came up. That was probably a little later, but that's where he's known. He just interviewed kids and they made comments. Kids are always very innocent. Even today, they're young enough, they're still innocent. They say funny things. So that's a recipe for success. And that's how I came to know of an Art Linkletter because I loved his show. I think it was in syndication by the time I came around, by the time I remembered in the early 70s. But I loved him. He just was a decent, he just came across as a true, decent person. Um, Now he was friends with a lot of these other giants. He knew Walt Disney. In fact, he had a chance to buy into Disneyland theme park, but he blew that one, and he probably wish he hadn't. But still, he was a friend of Walt Disney, and they did other ventures together, and he did very, very well um, there. Again, he was around a long, long time. Married one woman his whole life, 75 years. Wow. Um, Now he was in the game for a long time. He knew a lot of giants, and as far as I'm concerned, he was a giant. He never heard anything bad about Art Linkletter. Tragically, he lost a number of his kids earlier in life while he was still around. The hardest thing for parents to lose their child, you know? But for those things most admired this week, it goes to Mr. Art Linkletter. Okay, so I want to talk about, we haven't talked about towns in a while. So I want to talk about Odenton, Odenton, Maryland. Let's go ahead and click it right there. I think we can just push right here or right there, maybe. There we go. There's the map of Odenton right there. So Odenton is just 10 to 20 miles from Washington, D.C., from Annapolis, rather. It was founded in 1868. Population as of 2020 was 43,000. Now, it's grown a lot because of its proximity to Fort Meade. Fort Meade's right down the street, right on 175. In 1840, so a long time ago, the steam-powered Annapolis and Elk Ridge rail was built, or at least added into Odenton. At the beginning of the Civil War, Union soldiers guarded the rail as it was the only link between the North and the U.S. Capitol. So it was always strategic. Remember, I've talked a number of times about how a lot of these towns were built. It's all about the rail. There's all a few farmers, maybe some Native Americans still around. Then the rails came in and towns were built. It's just the American way, you know. So yeah, there's something about the town of Odenton. So we're gonna stop the share, but there's one more thing we want to do. And I also want to, there we go. Okay. Now, I wanted to do something about kids. And this is a poem that was written by William Martin. And it says, do not ask your kids to strive. And here's how it reads. Do not ask your children to strive for extraordinary lives. Such striving may seem admirable, but it is the way of foolishness. Help them instead to find the wonder and the marvel of ordinary life. Show them the joy of tasting tomatoes, apples, and pears. Show them how to cry when pets or people die. Show them the infinite pleasure in the touch of a hand, and make the extraordinary come alive for them. The extraordinary will take care of itself. And that was written by William Martin. So, everybody, it's going to be a fantastic weekend coming up. I'm sure of it. And we have some projects right around the corner. Uh, Adventures of Auerbach is getting close. So for everyone here at the Glen Burnie Players, again, my name's Anthony Bynum. Until next time, bye-bye.